So hello, it's Yasmin again with a new episode. I'm continuing my quest to do the home lab experience and to create a small home lab based on virtual machines that is going to involve everything. By everything, I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about because I'm making this thing as I go along. Initially, in the last episode, what we did is I created a small cluster based on Proxmox. So I created the virtual machines that are containing Proxmox operating system, and I put them into a cluster. And we stopped at the point where I needed to install additional software for the Ceph, because the reason I had to stop is that my cluster right now doesn't have any internet connectivity. So let's roll the intro and see what's next. Okay, now where we are standing right now. We have my 3 machines running Proxmox. All of them are on the same version of the Proxmox. This version was the one that I downloaded. It's not the latest one, so I need to upgrade it. Also, in order to create Ceph cluster, I need to install the Ceph itself. And since the installation is not included, I need to be able to connect my cluster to the internet, or more precise, to connect my nodes to the internet. Now, while I was thinking about this, first idea was to use the very same machine that I'm using to connect to the cluster itself. So I have a separate Linux machine that is running CentOS, and this thing is here, and it is able to connect to the web interface of the cluster or data center and I have my nodes here. Now I'm using this subnet, so 192.186.100 something / 24, and the thing is that what I want to do is I want to create a router on the address 100.1. Simply because when I configured this, I configured the gateway to be on the 100.1 subnet. Now, the thing is that first I was thinking about using this Linux as a router. It is fairly easy. You can install firewall-d. Under firewall-d, you can create routing, or you can create you can tell the kernel to enable packet forwarding. You can create the rules to be able to do network translation, and that's basically it. But then I thought better and said, okay, since we tried to, when we are starting to build a home lab, why not do it using some sort of an actual router sorting software? My first thought, and the thing that I wanted to start with, was to start using pfSense. Then I thought about using OpenSense, because this is the pfSense and the OpenSense are basically forks of each other. pfSense was first, and then OpenSense became a fork for the reasons of ease of use and different approaches to how the update should be handled. And my initial thought was, okay, let's go with pfSense because it's older and probably more people are using it. Then I tried to download it and decided not to go that way, simply because it was asking too much information out to me. The community version, that is free, is still free, but it requires you to register and download. And since I don't want to do this right now, I decided to go the OpenSense route. It is possible to use something else, like MikroTik or any other version of routing software, but this is a thing that is going to be dealt with probably in another episode, where I'm going to be trying to compare different routing softwares that are available for free or that you can use at home. I would highly recommend that you take a look at open source routers, because today being able to not only route but also do some sort of IPS IDS, so inspection based on either signatures or the content of the packages is a thing that should be considered, because there's a lot of things that is going on. So both OpenSense and pfSense give you the ability to not only do the normal routing and configuring the internet access, but also to inspect the packages and do a lot more of the things that enable much more security in your home lab, or basically in your house or office. Now, let's go and deal with OpenSense. I'm going to just quickly go to their website. I'm going to open the OpenSense site. Okay, Thriving Tiger is the latest version, 24.7. Let's download the latest version. Let's go here. I'm going to ignore the donation right now, but I'm going to think about it later. There is only a 64-bit version. What I want to do is I want to grab, okay, I'm going to go with VGA. So now I'm going to go with DVD. So ISO installer image, because I'm using the ISO, I'm going to go with default location. Let's see if there is anything more available to me that is closer to me. No, let's go with this one and let's download it. So it's going to be fairly quick. My internet at home is pretty quick, which is nice. So a few seconds later, I'm going to have my image. What do I do then? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Proxmox and I'm going to go to my storages. I'm going to find the local storage for my only Proxmox node, because this is the under node, so the node that is running everything. And I'm going to go and upload the image that I just downloaded. So I'm going to go to the downloads. I'm going to go with the date modified, and I'm going to go with no, this is not what I'm looking for. Let's say what is the name of the OpenSense? Let's see where it is downloaded. Okay, let's find the file name. It's not on the desktop, it's on the downloads. Why am I not seeing it? Okay, I know the reason. This is compressed, so let's uncompress it to ISO directory. Let's go here, let's go here, let's go here, and let's say okay, upload. Okay, a couple of seconds later, with a couple of bugs later, this is going to get uploaded. Okay, we seem to have a problem here. Let's redo the thing. Let's go to the select file, open source ISO file. Okay, let's open it and let's upload it right now. Okay, this is it, task okay. So now I have my images here. This is OpenSense image, this is Proxmox image. Now let's create a machine that is going to be hosting the Proxmox. Sorry, the OpenSense. I'm going to go with create a new VM. This is going to be a VM, whatever, 112. I'm going to call it OpenSense. And I'm going to say this is going to start at boot. I'm going to go with the OS. It's going to be ISO image. It is going to be OpenSense. is going to be Linux. I'm going to go next. This is fine with me. I'm going to give it 32 gigabytes of disk space because this is probably enough for everything it needs to do. I'm going to go with, let's say, 4 cores to make it work. I'm going to go and say, okay, next. I'm going to go with, let's say, 4 gigs of RAM. Next, I'm going to say that I want to be able to bridge from my local network. So this is going to be my first device that I'm going to be configuring, and then I'm going to add another device later. Also, okay, I don't want to start after being created. I'm going to go with finish. Now I'm going to open my machine 112, and I'm going to go to hardware, and I'm going to add additional network device, but this one is going to be connected to the bridge called VMBR1. Let me check this. Just give me a second. Let me check here. My bridge is VMBR1, so this is the bridge that contains my PVE. So this is going to be on the same network, or on the same logical network as my network that contains my PVE cluster. Now, the next thing to do is to double check this. So VMBR1 is my network that contains me to the internet. So it contains 192.168 something. This is 100.1 or the 100. something. So I'm going to configure this device, or this network device, to be my adapter that is going to be pretend to be my local network, looking from the perspective of PVE, and then this is going to be my outside internet from the perspective of PVE. So the OpenSense is going to be a router between those two. Now let's start it. Hopefully I have enough memory, and I'm going to be able to install this thing. Old school ASCII graphics. Quick boot is going to probably change to the graphic interface, so it's going to go with smaller fonts, but let's give it a little bit of time. I don't want to import any configuration. I'm just going to go with installing it and telling it okay. I'm going to configure my interfaces manually. I don't want lags. I have no VLANs. Okay, and now let's see. I want to make sure which device is my primary and which one is my local device. So WAN being wide access, so this is my outside device, and I'm going to go and check which one is this. So this should be the one with VMBR0. So it finishes with 91 EB. Let's see which one is this. 91 EB is my VTNet 0. So let's go with A for the auto detection. Okay, this is connected. It says no link is detected, so I'm going to go with VTNet 0 is going to be my WAN device. Now, the other device should be VTNet 1. So my LAN. There is no optional devices, so this is it. Do you want to proceed? Yes, I do. Now let's work with this and see what is going to be my configuration. It's going to start the web GUI, graphical user interface. It is going to start unbound DNS for the local area network. And if everything is configured correctly, I should be able to connect to it. Let's give it a few more seconds. The time is running, the beep is running. So, okay, now I have my machine configured, and it decided that it configured itself to run 192.168.1.1 on the LAN and 1.36 on the VTNet 0, which is, the second one is correct, but the first one is completely and utterly wrong. Now I need to go and I'm going to be running as installer. Okay. Okay, let's do, I would guess, nothing. Installer. Let's check quickly how do you actually run the thing. So I will go with probably with support. I'm going to go with support and then documentation. Let's installation and setup. Let's see initial installation configuration, installation media, installation images. Okay. We did this. Download notification. Okay, this is fine. We installed it. System boot preparation. This is done. No importing. Live environment. So either I go with root. Okay, and I can connect to the GUI, and then the password is OpenSense. Okay, so installer and OpenSense is going to be the password. So let's do this. Fine. Oh, old school FreeBSD. I'm going to go with default key map. I'm going to install using ZFS. Probing devices. Okay, no redundancy. Okay, are you sure that I want to connect the disk? Yes, nothing is on the disk anyways. Okay, it is now going to clone the current system or do the faster version of the install by just simply cloning the entirety of the system, which is fine. Either it is going to be agonizingly slow or it is just preparing to copy and then it's going to copy things quickly. As I said, it was preparing to do things. So while this is happening, let me quickly double check my configuration. So my bridge is EB in the end and FC is the other configuration. So I got my adapters correctly, but the OpenSense got the configuration wrong, because what it decided to do is to set 1.1 on one adapter and 1 point whatever, what was it, on DHCP on the other adapter. I think that the installer should have realized that it has a problem, because it had a problem, and the problem was that it got addresses mixed up. It is not easy or even possible to route if you have same addresses on two different devices, if they are on the same network or even if they are on the different networks, because there is no way for the router to know which device to pass your packages through. But this is something that should be dealt with in the installer. This is not a problem right now. So let's go and wait for this thing to finish. Okay, completed. Preparing target system in progress. And hopefully I'm going to be able to connect to the system itself. Because what is going to happen, and what could prove to be a problem, if the system is configured in the wrong IP range, I'm going to need to reconfigure the machine before I can connect to it. My server 1 is inside the 100.1 and also 1.0/24. So if the configuration here doesn't work, it is going to be a problem. I'm going to create a simple demo, and then wait for the installer to finish. Okay, let's complete the install. I should be able to go and connect to the 100.1.1. Okay, this is fine. The console is going to enable me to install the correct address. This is fine. Let's hope that this is going to just boot from disk C. Okay, fine, it is booting. Multi-user. Let's go. This should be much quicker because we are no longer waiting for any of the configuration itself. And this should be fine. Now we are configured, okay, wrongly, but we are configured. Let's go with root. Let's use the password demo. Now what I can do, I can set the interfaces. The default configuration was wrong. I want to set my IP addresses for the LAN, and I want to tell it that I don't want to do DHCP, and I want to tell it to be 192.168.100.1/24. Okay. No, it's not happy, so let's try this one. Okay. For a WAN, enter the new LAN IP. For the LAN, press enter. For none, this is a LAN address. Okay. I'm not going to use the IPv6. I'm not going to be using IPv6. Enter for none. Do I want to enable HTTP? Yes. I'm going to go with, I'm going to assign from 100 to, okay, 168.100.100, and I'm going to assign to 168.100. Let's say 150. Doing the change from HTTP to HTTP. No, I don't have to. Do you want to generate a new self-signed web GUI interface? Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's see if the thing works. I should be able to connect to my newly configured open system here. So let's open a new window here. And let's connect to 168.100.1. No, .10.1. Sometimes when different systems try to help you, it's not helpful. Okay, this is fine. There is always potential risks ahead. I'm going to accept it. Yes. Oh, hello. So let's try with root and demo. Yes, I'm going to save it. Okay, we have the initial setup wizard. Okay, initial setup configuration. The name is going to be OpenSense. Domain is going to be local domain. Let's see what I named my domain in this configuration. I'm going to check on the Proxmox nodes. Do they even have an address and name? Hosts. So I have pve1example.com. Okay, let's have my domain being example.com. Okay, language going to English. My primary DNS server is going to be Google. I'm going to go with Cloudflare here. I'm going to allow DNS service to be overridden by DHCP on LAN. Okay, no. I'm going to enable resolving. I'm going to be doing everything by the book. Put the OpenSense needs to know what time it is, so yes. Configuration is going to be WAN interface is going to be DHCP. This is fine. I'm not planning on doing anything other than this. I'm going to block private networks rendering via WAN, so this is going to block everything basically. My LAN interface is this. Password is going to be this. Leave empty to keep the current one. what do I leave empty here? Okay. Next, reload configuration. Let's see if this thing works. Okay, it says that I can continue to the dashboard. I get my interface statistics. It's going to be populated in a few seconds once the things go and start working. Now I'm going to go my Proxmox and I'm going to open a console on PV1. So this is a console inside the console inside the console, and I'm going to say, can I ping 8888? Yes, I can. This means I have internet now. So first part of my installation is done. I'm going to consider this a success. Proxmox works. And this means that OpenSense also works. This means I have the internet. I can also see that there was some traffic, and this traffic was basically me trying to connect. So just if you haven't played with OpenSense yet, you can. There is a dashboard here that you can use to view what is happening on different parts of the system. You can see the license. You can change the password, you can log out here, but the things that are mostly useful and the things that you're going to be using mostly are on the system. So there is a configuration here. You can do the configuration for everything, so the defaults, the backups, and so on. You can backup your configuration. You can see the history of your changes, so you can track what happened when. You can see this history of all the changes that happened on the machine. So you can see that where I logged in, what I did, who made the changes, and so on. You can do the difference between the changes, so you can see what actually happened and when. You can upgrade the firmware being the actual OpenSense. So you're going to be on this screen, and this screen is going to give you the ability of seeing what plugins exist. You can add any of these plugins. You can go to the status. You can check for updates here. See if there is anything to be upgraded. It says 4 packages. So it is going to ask me, okay, this is a new version. Stay close, safe, close. And now on the bottom of the page, you can see there is an update, and this update requires a reboot. I'm going to ignore it for now. I'm first going to install my PVE and do everything there, and then while I'm doing and playing with Ceph, I'm going to also do the update on the OpenSense. Now, as I said, now I have the ability to actually connect to the internet. Now, what should I do? First, I need to go to the system. I want to be able to, on my PVE and on my other systems, I want to be able to do a little bit of updating. Now, the updates are here. I'm going to open my console to be a little bit bigger because I want to see more on my screen. And I want to be able to see things that are a little bit more in focus, because the downsampling of the image creates things that don't look good. So I'm going to refresh. I don't have a available description. Okay, fine. So it is going to ignore me basically for everything. And I'm going to be having failures, resolving everything, which is not good. Okay, let me just check if I'm still able to connect to the internet. Yes. Am I able to resolve? So let's ping google.com. Temporary failure. Okay. My DNS is not working. Let's see why. Let's see what is here. My DNS is okay. This is not good. My DNS should be 8888. This is completely fine because I configured it when I didn't know what to expect. So let's do a shell now. Let's now ping Google. Much better. So my configuration is now correct. Let's go do the updates. Refresh it. Yes. it is going to go and fetch things. So I have an unauthorized. Now, the thing is that being unauthorized, so having configured things here, is that the idea is that I'm not able to connect to the latest versions of the packages because I'm using non-subscription repositories. This doesn't mean that I am unable to update my machine. It's just that I'm not using the repositories that are considered production ready. What I can do is I can actually press upgrade, and it's going to upgrade to the latest version of the packages. So you still have access to the latest version of the packages that are on the no subscription, so bookwork no subscription, but you don't have access to the packages that are considered to be worthy to be in the production. My experience is that for normal usage and for the non-critical usage like this is completely fine. There is no reason not to trust the no subscription things. And if you want to do an actual production that you need to rely on, I would strongly suggest to get at least the lowest subscription available, so the community one, because even without the support, you actually get a lot for your money when you're buying the subscription, because you get the actually stable packages in the Proxmox. Now, the thing to do is I can go through the different machines here, so I can go through other. I'm going to refresh my other node. It is going to refresh itself. It is going to say, okay, the same thing that the last one did. Okay, let's now go and do the upgrades. It says nothing, okay, which is strange. But anyways, okay. Oh, yes, the thing. The first one was misconfigured, so I need to configure the second one also, and I need to do it this way. I need to say 88888. Okay, I need to then go to the updates, do the refresh. Okay, wait for it to finish. Then wait for the configuration, do the upgrade and let it finish. Yes. Then go to the third one. Not forget to configure the DNS. Okay. Now what I did is I configured my updates, and I did the blind upgrade of everything to the no subscription model. Okay. Let's do the upgrades. Yes. Okay. Let's see, what do I have now? I'm probably going to see a lot of windows. So this is one of my windows. This is another one of my windows. This one has finished yet. This one is trying to finish. This one says I'm up to date, so I'm going to close it. Yes. I'm going to see what this one says. Up to date, processing triggers. This one has finished. Yes. So waiting for these two to finish also. So the first one is still upgrading, and the third one is upgrading from what I can see. No, okay. Okay, while this is finishing, let me quickly go and see what is next. Now, I have my shells open here, so everything is updating. And I'm going to go with here and see if there are any updates available. No more. So this means that my first node has been updated. The second node is still updating, so it is still missing some updates. The third node is still updating, so basically the same thing as the second one. Now, the first one is finished. While the second 8.2 are updating. Let's go and do the Ceph configuration. Now, as I said, the last episode finished when I wasn't able to install the Ceph. Now I can do it. So let's install the Ceph. It is going to ask me which version. I'm going to be using either Reef or Quincy. Reef is not the latest one, but this is the one that is available on the in the installer. So let's go with 8.2 Reef, and let's say that I'm going to be using no subscription because I don't have a subscription. Let's start the installation, and it's going to install a couple of packages. It's not that much. It's going to be finished in a couple of seconds probably. Now, this installs the packages, and the packages that I'm going installing are the packages that I need to run the Ceph cluster, or to run this particular node in the Ceph cluster. This is the only thing that I need to install. I'm going to be, as I'm upgrading the system, I'm also going to upgrade the cluster itself, so I can independently upgrade the system and the Ceph cluster. Also, the configuration, if I change the configuration of the cluster, so the Proxmox cluster, I don't need to upgrade the Ceph. I can remain on older version of Ceph. There are some reasons why I would do this, and there is quite a lot of explanation on the Proxmox site itself how to do the upgrade of the Ceph cluster. This is a topic for another episode. This is not something that I want to do now because, as I said, I'm just installing it right now. I don't have any reason to do anything other than install it and show you how it works. Now, while this is installing, let's quickly, or let's not do a check on the other nodes, because I'm now dangerously close to multitasking myself into a corner. So let's let this thing finish. And let's talk about how Ceph actually works. So Ceph is decentralized. The idea is this. We have an idea of having disks that are called OSDs, and then we have an idea of something called a placement group. My configuration is going to reside on my on this machine. So this is my Ceph cluster configuration public network for the first monitor. So this is going to be my first node and the first thing that I configure. I can configure it depending on how many IP addresses I have. I can configure it on different nodes, but since this is my first node and only has one address, this is it. So I'm going to go with next. And it says installation successful, install Ceph on other nodes. Now, this is what needs to be done. This is the minimal thing. Placement groups, OSDs, and everything else is going to be dealt with later. By later, I mean when I finish installing the other cluster, parts of the cluster. Now, let's go and see if this is finished. Yes, PVE2 is finished. Let's leave the page. Now, this one is PVE3. It is also finished. So let's do this thing here. Leave the page. And let's go to PVE2. Let's go to Ceph. Yes, install. No subscription. And go to separate start Reef. Do I want to continue? Yes. So basically the same thing. And then I'm going to be doing the same thing on the third node. As I said, the Ceph is decentralized. The idea is that I have my OSDs that should be symmetrically distributed across all the nodes. So translation into regular simple English is, if you have multiple computers that are inside your cluster, and if your computers have available space on them, the space should be distributed evenly. You don't want your system to have multiple disks that are wildly different sizes. So basically, for example, in this cluster, I'm going to be using disks that I already configured. I don't have how many of those I have. probably a couple on each of the nodes in the cluster, but they are symmetrically distributed. I don't want to have a single computer with a large disk, and I think that I mentioned this in the previous episode. The idea, the problem behind this is that if you have one single disk that is much larger than the rest of the cluster, what is going to happen is that your machine, or the machine that has this huge disk, is going to be the one that is going to be preferred for all the storage, and you are going to be losing a lot of functionalities that Ceph actually has. So you are going to be losing on being able to distribute load across disks. You're going to be losing the ability to actually use different disks for different parts of the data, because a lot of data is going to be in the same place. Also, you're going to be creating a lot of network traffic for no reason at all. So try to configure all the disks so they are symmetrical. You probably saw that I just pressed next. It says that the configuration is finished. This is because my configuration on the Ceph here now knows there is one monitor and one manager, and it is warning me that I don't have OSD count, so basically I don't have any disks. This is the Ceph way of telling me OSD count 0 is less than OSD poll default size 3. So it is telling me my count of the disk is 0, so I don't have any disks, and it should be at least 3, because I have I want to have 3 disks, because by default the configuration is to have 3 different disks to store placement groups on. Also, the services and everything that I have here are only on PVE1, so I'm going to be installing more services on PVE2 and PVE3, but for now let's just install Ceph on the PVE3 because I don't have it, and this should be finishing the installation of the necessary software. So this is basically it. Now, Ceph is simple to install, pretty simple to use once you understand what the ideas are. Let's talk about placement groups. This is something that's going to be creating a lot of problems for you if you haven't thought about it or you haven't seen it before. What Ceph does is it distributes the data that you put into the system into blocks, and those blocks are distributed into placement groups, and the placement group is just a bunch of the blocks from the whole of the data that you decided to put in the Ceph cluster. A placement group can be placed on multiple disks. So what is actually happening is that you have for example, you create some sort of an object, whatever the object is. It can be a file system, it can be an actual object, or it can be image of or a block device. It is going to get broken down into placement groups, and then those placement groups are going to be distributed across all the different OSDs or disks. This actually in reality means that you are just taking a thing, you are breaking it down into smaller pieces, you are creating copies of those smaller pieces, and then you are making sure that the copies, all the smaller pieces are distributed across different disks, and also that the copies of them are distributed across different disks in such a way that if any single node or if any single disk fails, you are completely sure that you are going to at least retain one copy of the data. Now, this is configured, it is fine, he's happy, everything is happy, fine. Okay, so in order to make all of this happen, and the reason why this is warning me something is that now I don't have disks, also I don't have enough monitors. Not having enough monitors means that only one service or only one machine is monitoring everything. Also, only one machine is managing everything. Now, if I go under Ceph, and if I go into monitor, I can create a monitor, and it's going to ask me which one. I can use the PVE2, create it. Okay. I can create a monitor PVE3. It's going to be much happier when I have multiple monitors. It's going to tell me that it has one monitor stopped and two monitors running. I also have one manager, so I'm going to be creating redundant managers. You can see that when I say create, it automatically basically tells me what is available. So I can just create a manager and so on. So now I have an active manager, I have two standby managers, and I have three monitors that are keeping track of everything. So everything is redundant. This is because I'm running a monitor service and a manager service on each of the nodes. And this is how this should look. Now I still have a problem because my health is not correct. The call health says now that I have a OSD count 0 and this is less than 3 because my configuration says that I should be having at least 3 different copies because it says OSD poll default size, so I should be having 3 copies of everything. Also, the minimum amount of copies that I should have of everything is 2. This is here in the configuration itself. So the cluster is warning me, you don't have any disks, you are expected to have at least 2, but you decided to go with 3. And this means that you need to have this many disks to be able to create a pool. Also, there is a configuration here. There are some configuration parts here, so the bucket rules and so on and so on. But I'm not going to go and trying to explain this. We are going to be talking this a lot later when we are dealing with the Ceph itself. Probably in the next episode, because this one is going to take too long anyways. Now, let's now go to OSD. And let's create the OSD. What I can do is, on my machine, so my PV3, I have three empty disks, B, C, and D. It is warning me that disks backed by the hardware rate controller are not compatible. So this means that Ceph wants to be able to directly talk to the disk. It doesn't want to go through the rate controller. And the reason is probably the cache. Now let's create a disk. This is going to be quick. And what I'm right now doing is I'm assigning my empty disk inside my my PV3. I'm assigning it to be part of the be part of my cluster. Now B is assigned C. Let's go with, okay, let's click on C, create, wait for a second. Fine. Then let's create D, create. I can see what is happening. Successfully created, okay. Now let's do the same thing on PV1 because my PV1 also has separate disks, so B, C, and D. Let's create. There is not a lot of I can do here. I can just simply go and press next, 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 because this is the thing that to do. Ceph used to use file system to control the disks. Now it's strictly talking to the block device, so it doesn't care about the OSD type and things like this. I'm going to then go and say create OSD. This is going to be automatic. C, yes. The information here is wrong because the interface is lagging behind the cluster itself because it doesn't update all the time. So you can see that everything is now being initialized correctly, but you can see that I initialized 5 disks. This is the 6th one, and you can see only see 4 here. As a matter of general idea of how to deal with this thing, don't trust it, specifically don't trust the Ceph display here until you are completely sure that everything has been set up and also that everything has been refreshed. So for example, I know that I created 3 OSDs here. I can only see 2 and one of those is down. This is incorrect. It is being initialized, so it is going to go up as soon as I probably go here. I'm going to see that OSD now is up and OSD 5 is now initializing. So my PV2 is now needs to have its own OSDs up. B, create, C, create, D, create, and now let's wait. It is doing the tasks here. You can check what is happening, so I can do it in the background. And now I'm going to go map to my PV1. It is going to now redo the disk information, and I can see I have 3 disks on PV1, I have 3 disks on PV3, and now my PV2 is coming back online. The next thing is just to wait for the cluster to completely initialize. So I'm going to just press reload here, and now I can see 3 disks on my PV2. They're all 3 are down because they are being initialized, and as the time goes by, I'm going to see the disk 6 online, disk 7 should be coming online, disk 8, and then it should be coming online quickly after this. So 7 is up and in, 8 is, come on, up and in. This is it. I have 3 nodes, I have 3 disks in each node, so 9 disks is total. And then if I take a look at my Ceph now, it is going to still be warmy, but it is going to say, okay, I have 9 disks that are up and in, and I have monitors that are PV1, PV2, PV3, 3 managers. I can see that I have 287 gigabytes of space available on the entirety of the disks. And the thing is that what I can do now is I just need to configure it as to be using it as something. So I can use my configuration can be using things like I don't know, I can create a Ceph FS, I can create pools, I can create whatever I need to do. So to quickly reiterate, I have configured 3 different Ceph nodes. I have done configuration on each of the nodes. I configured 3 disks on each of the nodes. So now I have a 9 disk or 9 OSD Ceph cluster distributed across 3 nodes. What I'm going to do next in this episode that is going to follow this one is going to be I'm going to start using this Ceph, and I'm going to keep building up on my home server. So I'm going to be installing another set of probably an iSCSI device of some sort. So either an Android or a Linux using target CLI or something. And then I'm going to be installing virtual machines on this Proxmox environment, so that we can see how those virtual machines are behaving, and also how these virtual machines are able to migrate and use the Ceph. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be keeping track of how much networking Ceph itself is using, so I can show you how those things interrelate, and how the Ceph itself is a lot of things, but not nice to the network bandwidth, because it requires enormous amounts of bandwidth. But this is going to happen in the next episode. Thank you for being with me, and see you next week. Thank you, bye.